Hello and welcome to our Poppy tutorial. My name's Amanda and I'm from Always Knitting and Sewing. We're a small family-run fabric shop based in Chorley in Lancashire. You'll find everything that you need in the description below, as well as a link to our website, so gather your supplies and let's begin. So this is my fat quarter. This is the side that measures 18 inches and I'm going to cut two 3-inch strips. So go ahead and do that. So you'll have two pieces of red fabric measuring 18 by 3. And then we're going to attach our interfacing. So now we're going to attach our interfacing. So I've got one piece of my poppy red fabric with the wrong side facing me and my strip of interfacing. One side will be a bit sticky and shiny, and that is the glue side, and that is the side that we want to put down here. So place it down. I've got my iron nice and hot. I'm using 100% cotton, so please adjust the temperature of your iron to whatever fabric you are using, and I'm just going to pop it on there, hold it for a few seconds to fuse my interfacing on, and then move it across. So go ahead and attach your interfacing to your piece of fabric. Leave it to cool for 5 minutes or so the glue adheres, and I will meet you back when you've done that. So now we're ready to draw our petal shape on. I've got my two pieces of fabric right sides together. I popped a couple of pins in to hold it in place. Grab your poppy template. Don't put it right near the edge because we need room to cut around it, but you're just going to draw around your shape with your chalk pencil. Now when we stitch, we're going to stitch on the line, but we need to leave space around the shape so we can cut them out. So when you come to do your next one, you need to leave a gap. We're going to cut this at about 1/8 of an inch. So you need to leave at least 1/4 of an inch in between. If you want to measure it, you can. If you just want to eyeball it, it doesn't matter, but just leave at least 1/4 of an inch in between your two petal shapes. So go ahead and trace 5 shapes and I will meet you back when you have done all 5. So the next thing we need to do is stitch our petals. So you're actually stitching on the line that we have just drawn. You're going to start here, back tack at the beginning, take your time going around the curve, lifting your foot, make sure you stop with your needle down and try and get as round as you can because we don't want any square shaped petals. Come back to this point here and back tack there. We are not stitching along this line. This is where we are going to turn them through. So back tack here, take your time going around the curve, actually stitching on the line and stopping at this side, back tacking at the end. And I will see you when you've stitched all 5 petal shapes. So this is what we should look like now. As you can see, I have got one slightly wonky petal, but I'm sure nature's not perfect, so that's a good enough excuse for me. So what we need to do now is cut our petal shapes out. Now, if you want to measure this, you can do. You want to cut at about 1/8 of an inch away from our stitched line. If you want to just eyeball it, that's perfectly fine. I've got my sharp scissors and I'm just going to cut around. Don't want too big of a seam allowance, otherwise there's too much bulk with being on a curve. So just take your time and cut around your petal the whole way around and along that straight edge as well. So again, about 1/8 on the bottom there. So take your time and cut around, leaving it about 1/8 of an inch gap away from your stitching. There we go. So go ahead and cut all your petals out and I'll meet you back when you've done that. Now this next bit is optional, but it will give you a better result with it being a curved seam. We're going to clip our seam allowance. So these scissors are perfect. You want the tiniest, weeniest little snip. You're not going anywhere near your stitching. I'm just going to clip into. If you don't feel confident, don't do it because you're better off with a bit of excess fabric than you are with a cut through your stitching line. So go ahead and snip your curves if you want to. If you don't worry. There we go. So I've cut all my 5 petals out and I've clipped all my corners. Now you're ready to turn them through. If you've got some easy grip pliers, this may help because it is only quite a little hole that you've got to get in there. But go ahead and turn all your petals the right way around and give them a press. So I've turned all my petals through and given them a press. Now we have 2 options. Option 1 is chain piece them together. So what that means is we are going to stitch them all in a big long line at the machine and they'll all be fastened together. So let me show you how to do that first of all, and you can decide which option you'd like. So I've got a nice long tail coming out of my machine. I've moved my stitch length up to the longest it will be on mine, which is 4.5. Yours may be bigger. I'm going to lift my foot, put my needle in, about 1/4 inch. Don't have to be too precise. No back tacking, you're just going to go. Come off the end and get your next one. You want to do that for all 5. When you're finished, again, leave a nice big long tail. So if you have got an automatic needle thread cutter, don't use that. You want to pull it out and chop your threads off yourself. So stitch all your 5 petals together and I'll see you when you've done those. So this is what we look like now. You want to grab your thread and start to pull and all your petals will move in. So do that and I will meet you when we have pulled all our petals together. So option number 2 is to hand stitch them. So I've got my needle threaded up and I've got a knot in the end. I'm just going to put it in there and just do a couple of big running stitches. And then that will pull my petal in. I can carry on with the next one. So again, about 1/4 inch in, just a couple of big stitches. So whichever method you prefer, go ahead and fasten your petals together. Whichever you've done, when you've arranged them how you like them, just remember to fasten your ends off into a big knot. So whichever you prefer, go ahead. So this is what it should look like now. So put your flower down to one side and then you're going to cut your leaf template out. So just pin it on and cut around. Doesn't have to be perfect. Cut a leaf out of your green felt and then with your button, place it on your felt. Leave enough room around the outside because we're going to cut it a bit bigger. I'm just going to draw around my button and the aim of this is to cover all that messy middle up in there. So I'm going to cut about 1/4 inch, doesn't have to be precise at all, bigger than my button so it will cover all our middle up. So go ahead and cut out your black felt and cut out your leaf template. And I will meet you back when you've done that. So you want to turn your poppy over, get your fabric glue pen or your fabric glue, whichever you're using. You're going to put some glue on the bottom of your leaf and you're going to put it so it covers over the middle down there. Then you're going to take your black piece of felt and put some glue around the outside. So all the way around the outer edge, I'm going to pop some glue and you're going to put it on there like that. Give it a good press down. Leave it to set for a while. If you have got Fabri-Tac glue, then that is the best. Use that. If not, a glue pen will do. Give it a good press. Maybe put it under a book for 10 minutes or so till it sets. Then we're going to turn it through and add our button. So stitch your button on however you like, by hand or by machine, whichever you prefer. I'm going to do good old-fashioned hand stitching. So I'm just going to thread my needle and I'm going to stitch all the way through all the layers to hold it all in place. So whichever you prefer, by hand or by machine, stitch your button on. And we're nearly done. So all we have left to do now is attach our pin. So you can either use a safety pin. This is an inch long or an inch and a half long, or you can use a proper brooch pin. I'll show you how to attach either a safety pin or a brooch pin, whichever you have. So first of all, thread your hand sewing needle and then you are going to attach it to the back of your poppy. I'm just going to zoom in to see if you can see this. So if you don't know how to stitch something on, I'm just going to take a tiny little bit of felt there and I'm going to pull my tail till it's just hanging out there. I'm going to grab hold of it, go back through again, and this time when I get a loop, I know it's a bit hard to see black on black, I'm going to put my needle through that loop. I'm still hold of the tail here, and then that will just attach it. I'm just going to go through once more, again, back through another loop, and now I'm firmly attached. So I'm going to grab the safety pin first of all. So if you're using a safety pin like this, open it up, and obviously this is the side that you want to actually attach it to your clothes. So this is the side that you want to attach to the poppy. So literally just pop it on and then you can just sew over it. Just go backwards and forwards across that part of the safety pin until you feel it's nice and sturdy and attached well, and then that will be the part that you fasten to your clothes. Otherwise you can attach it with a brooch pin, so I'll show you how to fasten that one on. So if you've got a brooch pin, you could just glue it on there if you wanted to, but I'm going to stitch mine on. So I've attached my thread just like I did before, and this time we're going to go through the holes just like you were sewing on a button. So if you're going to you attach first of all already, so you can just come up through a hole and again go back down and up through the hole, just as if you were sewing a button. You can go one side to the other just to make sure it's attached nice and sturdy. So do a couple of stitches going that way, couple the other, and then just move along to the next hole. So through the felt and then up through the hole. Do a couple on one side and a couple on the other, and that will be nice and secure. So go ahead and stitch either your safety pin or your brooch pin, or glue your brooch pin on if you like, and then we are done. And there we have our finished poppy. If you've enjoyed this video, please remember to like and subscribe, and if you'd like to see more of our tutorials, check out our website at knitandstitch.club. Thanks for watching.